We're here to empower high-income earners to gain back control of your time through financial independence and stop trading your time for money and start letting your money work harder for you.
And hey, if you want to meet other high-income earners on their FIRE journey, join our High Income Earners FIRE Facebook group. Every month, we'll have guest speakers and we'll share about what our team is currently working on and allow you to share what you are working on with other high-income earners.
Welcome back to another episode of High Income Earners FIRE podcast. Today, we have Mat Piche, aka Fruitful Investor. He's been very successful investing in single family and small multifamily house in Kitchener, Toronto, Canada, which is 1 hour drive away from GTA. He has been doing raised about 50 million amount, 45 investor and helped them own version of financial freedom. And now he has sold all his property, but one in Canada and starting to go into US and diversify into short-term rental. And he's going to talk about how he's starting to set up his flipping business, just like what he did in Kitchener and now in Southwest Florida. In this episode, we'll chat why he focuses on Southwest Florida, what he's doing with his stock portfolio, and just sharing what his crystal ball for another 3, 6, 24 months. So if you want to hear more about that, make sure you tune in and listen till the end of this episode.
Our main focus on this podcast has always been to provide you the most value as possible. So what we'd like to ask of you is if you can go in to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get and listen to our podcast, go ahead and leave us a honest rating and review. And at the same time, leave us a question. Ask us the most important question that you have on your mind that's holding you back, that you want to get figured out or you want to have us answer for you. And so we'll go ahead on our interviews in the beginning or at the end, we'll go ahead and answer your questions live on our episode as well. And so that way we can get your most pressing questions and answered, provide you the most value as possible, answer the questions that are the most pertaining to your own situations. So leave us a rating and review, ask us your questions, and we'll answer it live.
Hey, welcome back to High Income Earners FIRE podcast. I'm Cody Ye. Today I'm with my co-host, Eileen Prague from California, US. And today we have Mat Piche with us, a very well-known investor. Welcome, Matt.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So Matt, for people who know you, you're the Fruitful Investor, but for people who doesn't know you, can you give us a quick 10-second rundown?
Yeah. Real estate investor from Canada. I started off buying single family homes, built my career that way. I JV'd with 45 or more partners to buy these properties without my own money. I've raised over $50 million, all from social media, pretty much 99% from YouTube. So that's pretty much what I'm known for, is raising capital. And we have a great flipping business. We have 13 employees. We flip about 25, 30 houses a year. And now we're expanding to the US as well.
Wait. Hold on. 45 partners on a JV? How do you guys even structure that?
45. Really so one partner was one property. So 45 properties.
Oh, okay.
With JVs. Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt, why 45 partners on 45 property? I thought if you did a full birth for them, they want more.
Yeah. So just the way it worked out, the partners we attracted were typically people that could only buy one or had the capital for one, even though we did a lot of duplex conversions, which is kind of our main focus in Canada. We did get refis and got their money back. Being in Kitchener, we never really ever got a full refi. That was kind of impossible. And now it's like totally impossible, but they got a lot of money back. So they just kept their properties with me. I think I may have a couple partners that maybe bought one or two with me, but the majority of them were just kind of one and done, set it and forget it. And we just ran the whole business for them.
And I heard that you sold all of those property at the best timing, except for one.
Yeah. So we sold all of our properties between, I would say, like August 2021, majority of them being December, January, February of 2022. It's almost like we knew something. So we were selling the properties kind of at the best time, getting out. Not that we were terrified of like a huge crash or recession at that time. Even now, being in October of 2022, I'm still not worried about that. But we thought, hey, the market is crazy. This is probably the top of the boom-ish. Might be a good time to sell, take all that capital, take all those gains, and then we'll figure out after, which now is the after. So now we're kind of going all in again.
So you guys are just collecting the dry powder right now, getting ready for whatever's to come.
Exactly.
Yeah. Really, for listeners who always trying to time the market, it's impossible.
Yeah.
I only know a handful of people who has done that. And most of the time they're still wrong. So even if you think the market is the bottom, once you get in, it might drop another 10, 20%. If you think it's the top, like Matt sold his property in August 2021, he was like drooling when he missed out. Yeah. And missed out the next 10, 20%. But the whole market corrected probably 20, 30%. And the residential 1 to 4 unit around Toronto, GTA, Canada area. So you can never time the market really. So, as long as you're kind of at the top, you sell it, kind of at the bottom, you buy it, you're fine.
Exactly.
No, Matt just has like a secret crystal ball that he's just hiding from everybody.
Yeah, it's over here. I'm not going to show you it, but it's somewhere over there. Yeah.
And now that you sold all your property, you have a lot of dry powder. What are you doing with those capital now?
Yeah, so it's funny. We sold all the properties in Canada, and the reason why we sold them off was obviously to get that money, but also because Canada and Ontario, as you know, is not very landlord friendly. It's a pain in the butt to deal with bad tenants. Even though we've had fantastic tenants, I've never, ever had a bad tenant. Surprisingly, knock on wood, I've never had a bad tenant in Canada. But I thought, let's just get the money out and go to the US and start doing Airbnb properties, which is kind of what we're focusing on now, which we're still focusing on. But now I'm also saying that I would never invest in Canada again. Really, for me at this stage in my life, and just for our values and what we want. But now I'm seeing the indicators and the trends that I want to see, and investing in Canada again is something we're starting up. So it's just too good to pass up. The price have come down too much. We're seeing good deals come back again in Kitchener and Waterloo, and we're going back on both, buying in Canada again, surprisingly, and going harder down south too.
What are some of the things? Because you said that I guess, first of all, when did you start looking to buy in the US, or when did you start that journey for yourself and your partners? And then what were some of the indicators for you that brought you back into the Canada market?
Yeah. So for the US, we started January, February of 2022. So it's always been a thing of us. We hate winter. I'm the fruitful investor. I love tropical. I love eating fruit and just being near the beach. So our values, our family values are around that. And we just recently had a baby. So we want to spend the winters away and just have fun in the sun and at the beach. So this was the first year, especially with everything was going on in the world. I'm not going to say it, but the C word, right? So with all that going on, we said, this is the year, we're done. We're going down south. It's freedom. And we're going to play in the sun and finally have that summer away with the family during the winter. So we traveled all around Florida to kind of decide first, where do we want to live? Where do we want to buy our winter home? So we did Miami. We did all the East Coast. We went down to the Florida Keys, spent a month in the Florida Keys. And then we came up to Southwest Florida and we hit Naples, Cape Coral area. So we decided Naples specifically for us, for our home, was the best spot. Naples is the richest city in America per capita, in all of America. So I thought this is a great place for me to put my money. I'm treating this house as like a gold, storage of value for my money. So I'm going to put my money in a gold market like Naples. However, for investing, we're going to go up to Cape Coral, Fort Myers area to do our investing with partners. So we kind of landed on that, just like the tax laws, the freedom laws, the amount of growth that's happening in Southwest Florida and all of Florida is insane. So that's kind of why we landed on that area specifically. And then for Canada, the indicators I'm seeing are, number one, we just don't have enough housing, right? So everybody's freaking out. And it's the same for the US, but in Canada specifically, I feel like in Southwestern Ontario, don't have the housing. So everybody's freaking out about a crash. Oh, real estate market's going to crash. It's going to come down to zero or whatever. And it's just not. If you look at the economic fundamentals and just supply and demand 101, at least this is my thinking anyway, is that there's just not enough supply. You can raise rates all you want. It's going to piss people off. It's going to lower values a little, of course. But at a certain point, the supply fundamentals come into play where we just don't have enough housing. So people need housing. We have immigration into Southwestern Ontario happening insanely. People are moving to Ontario and there's just not enough homes. So I can't see a crash happening no matter what interest rates do. Obviously we want them to come down a little bit. It's getting a little crazy, but I just don't see it happening. There's too many people and not enough homes.
Are you focusing in all across Canada? Or I heard you mention Ontario mostly. Is that the primary focus area in Canada now?
Yeah. So we just focus 1 hour radius of Kitchener and Waterloo. So like basically up to Toronto and down kind of is our main focus. And we're only there. We're not looking at Alberta. We're not looking out east, only this 1 hour radius. That's it.
So for context, for our US listener, Kitchener-Waterloo is about 1 hour, 1.5 hour drive from Toronto. And within 1 hour radius, I could go to London. I can go as south as, some other cities. But don't worry about that, Aline. I never got where Aline actually lives. That's why I say she's from California. That's how bad I am.
It's all the same, right?
You're from Cali. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So besides those indicator of family value in Southwest Florida and, not enough housing in Canada. Now with the housing price kind of soft, especially around Toronto area, GTA area, and kind of soften in the Southwest Florida as well.
Yeah.
What kind of property are you looking at now? Is it still flipping? Is it still short-term rental? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so both are our main strategy. So flipping is really our main business. That's where we spend the most of our time. So we've taken our foot off the gas pedal, I would say between like May 2022 to right now, about October 2022. We've been kind of waiting, not advertising too much, not putting a lot of money to marketing, seeing what's happening with the Fed, what's going to happen with interest rates and where this is going. Now we those of us who are investors and are looking at the market every single day because we obsess about it, we kind of know where this is going. We can kind of predict the next 6 to 12 months, certainly the next 24 months of where this is going. So, we're at the point where we're pretty much ready to go all in again on flips, which is a little more of a risky strategy. You have to buy the properties at a great price and hopefully sell it at a neutral or up market. You don't want to sell it, as the market's going down. So we're seeing the indicators. Okay, we know where this is going. I know where the next 6 to 12 months are most likely going to be. We're good to go all in for flips again. As for buy and hold, we're good to go all the time. We don't really care what happens with the market or what the Fed does, what real estate prices really do in total. We just want to average in and hold those properties because we always have a 3 to 5 year hold plan minimum with these buy and holds. So is the property going to be worth more in 2027 that I buy today? Almost guaranteed. So we don't really care about what's going on with the short-term Fed problems. We know real estate is going to be going up and just going to keep going up if we're buying in the right area. So buy and hold all in, and flipping, we're just about ready to go all in again.
What are some of the, I guess, I'm just kind of curious, the returns that you're seeing in like investing in the US versus what you're doing in Canada based?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Airbnbs, obviously the cash flow is insane. So the returns are much higher. We're getting up to anywhere from like 30 to 40% return on investment on a total property. That's typical. That's not like too crazy. And then the buy and holds in Canada are kind of the normal 20, 25 per year on average. So the US and the Airbnb is more slightly risky because it is short-term rentals. You never know what's going to happen, like a hurricane coming in and changing all your plans. But
like the one that just came through.
Exactly.
We're going to get into that. But before we get into that, I kind of want to hear, when you say Airbnb, 30 to 40% annual return, like, can you kind of break that down for us? How do you do that calculation?
So we just include the cash flow, mortgage pay down, and a low appreciation rate. So, right now we're seeing a flat to down market, so we're not going to count that. But in the years coming, a typical 3 to 5% appreciation on a property is very conservative for Southwestern Florida and key areas in the States. So just based on those numbers and the cash flow. But for the Airbnbs, we're more focused on the cash flow. It's more of a cash flow strategy rather than a return on investment focus. So on the typical single family homes we're doing that are near the ocean, we're getting about $4,000 to $6,000 a month net cash flow if we average that out all year long. Obviously, in the summer months, cash flow is less. Obviously, in November, December, January, February, the cash flow is much more. $10,000 a month cash flow on those months, but averaged out somewhere between $4,000 to $6,000 a month net cash flow.
And is that 30 to 40% return based on the money you put in? There's a bit of a leverage, right?
Exactly,
you have mortgage on it. Like, I'm guessing, did you lend with Canadian banks or do you use US banks?
So that's the other thing. So investing in the US, funny enough, even for us up here, is way easier than investing in Canada as a citizen. It's actually kind of a joke. So like getting a mortgage in the US with the US lenders is what we did and what we're going to keep doing is so easy. So when we bought our property, especially a short-term rental, they have a short-term rental program. I forget what my mortgage broker called it, a DSCR. I forget what it's called.
DSCR.
Yeah.
We are looking at
service coverage.
well.
Yes. Yeah. So that's based on cash flow, really. So, the reason why we love the US is it's more capitalism based. It's more free market based. It's more about business. So they look at these properties as a business. So basically, to get funding as a Canadian citizen in the US, the lenders I'm working with, all they care about is show me where the money came from. So it came from a legit source, obviously. And will the property rent for more than what this mortgage payment is going to be? If you can prove that with an appraisal and your property manager can give, an appraisal on rents, done deal. I don't care about your credit rating. I'm not going to pull your report. I don't want to see your tax income statements. I don't care. All I want are those 2 questions answered. That's it. Getting a mortgage in Canada as a Canadian citizen is insane. You have to jump through all these hoops, credit rating statements, give me your taxes from 2010 to now. You know what I mean? Like it's insane. Pay off your credit card statement, even though there's $50 on it. I want to see that paid off before I give you the mortgage. Like, come on, guys. Right. So it's just crazy. So going down to the US, like I said, it's more free market based. It's more capitalism. It's more business. It's easier. It's more abundant. There's more business. There's more money going around. There's more deals. So it makes more sense for us.
So it sounds like you guys, at least through the US, you're taking out a commercial loans versus like your individual private loans.
Yeah, exactly.
Or single family houses.
Yeah. So we're buying these in a corporation. It's actually required by these lenders that we do that, which is surprising, but that's what they want.
What type of corp? I'm sure it's not LLC. I hope it's not LLC. It
is an LLC. However, the way to get around all those tax implications is you have an LP that owns the LLC. You can buy properties in an LP. From my understanding, some of the lenders don't really like it. They'd rather lend to an LLC, but to cover us as citizens up here for taxes, is that we're buying them in an LP and the LP owns the LLC. So that's kind of how you get around double taxing for all your money.
Yeah, there's few ways. Sorry, Elaine. You don't have to worry about all this. It just Canada. We want to make sure we don't get double taxed. So there's really 2 ways for people who are listening to this. I think there's 2 ways. One is C Corp and the other way is LP. So, without digging too much, we're really setting those up as well. And you really want to make sure you don't just buy through LLC directly or personally, there's liability. If it's LLC, you'll get double tax because in Canada, they do not recognize, or CRA or IRS do not recognize LLC. So just be very careful of that. That is great. And so you're starting the flipping again in Kitchener. You guys are finding good deals and numbers works. And you kept saying you don't have the crystal ball, but you kept telling us that 6 to 12 months from now, you're not buying into the market. So what do you guys see that we don't see? Or in the 24 months, what do you see that we don't see?
So I'm focused on mortgage. I'm also investing in the stock market, which is more daily. Real estate investing, you're looking at more 6 month, 12 months timelines. It's slower. Stock market, as we're looking at every day at the market.
Canadian stock market or the US stock market?
US stock market. Okay. I'm not buying Canadian stocks. We're buying the US. But yeah, so being involved in looking at the stock market every day, it's more of like a short-term trend. With all that being said, there's a lot of talk, and what I'm seeing and what I've been investing since 2012. I've seen things like this, not exactly like this, but I've seen a tough Fed, a hawkish Fed trying to scare people, doing one thing on TV and doing another thing in reality. So, the talk of the Fed pivot, when's that going to come? 3 months, 6 months? We don't know, but we know a Fed pivot on interest rates is 100% coming. They're breaking the economy. They want to break the economy. It's working. They are breaking it. There's going to come a point where they're going to have to pivot and start holding or going down, which is good for real estate. So, we're kind of betting on that. I'm betting on that with my money, but that's what I see for sure. And a lot of other smart people that I'm following that are much smarter than me are also calling that that's most likely going to happen. I mean, even the Fed has signaled that there will be a time where they're going to pivot and start lowering rates. They want us to believe it's going to be 12 months from now. I highly doubt it. We're already seeing that around the world. We're seeing the UK just started pivoting, even though they're trying to backpedal on the pivot. We're seeing that. We're seeing China pivoting in certain key cities so that their real estate market doesn't crash. A lot of markets are starting to pivot ahead of the US. So, if I had to guess and use my crystal ball, I'd say we're probably 3 to 6 months away from a US Fed pivot, either holding rates or going down. I think they're going to start going down. And we know Trudeau, Canada, they just follow whatever the US does. So whatever the US does is what we do. So that's kind of what we're seeing.
In the next month here in November, there's already talks about the Fed is going to increase it another 75 basis points. Yeah. And then so we don't know what's going to happen after that though, but yeah.
Yes. So I think the market's already priced that, especially in the stock market, that 0.75 is already priced in because they're most likely going to do it. Is that going to be the last one? That's kind of what the talk is. Are they going to hold until January, February, and then start pivoting and actually lowering rates March, April, May, June, July of next year? I highly think so. But like I said, all in all, with our long-term real estate strategy, we don't really care too much if they do. I mean, if they do, it's great for us. If they don't, we're still having a 3 to 5 year plan. So we know this inflation problem is going to be gone for sure 3 to 5 years from now. I'm sure there'll be a new problem by then, but there'll be something else. But with a flipping strategy, we know we're kind of betting a little heavier because it's a more short-term strategy, a 6-month strategy, right? So
yeah, no, I was just going to say that like when you're talking right now, you were focused on like 2 different strategies as you're investing. You're looking at the short-term gains and then also balancing it out with the long-term view on and investing in real estate. So those 2 combinations there, I think it's a fantastic way to kind of look at your investments and think, overall big picture.
Yeah, it's like hedging your bets for the stock market. You're shorting and buying long in the stock market. You're kind of doing both, right?
This is great. And can we pivot and tell us more about your plan or what's going on with your short-term rental? Why don't you do the short-term rental around 1 hour radius of where you live in Canada? Why do you choose Southwest Florida? Can we talk about that?
Yeah. So a few reasons. So I know a lot of investors, and I help a lot of investors actually buy Airbnbs in Kitchener, Toronto, Hamilton area kind of thing. And they're doing really well. I've always thought like, there's no way these properties are going to do well. I mean, who's coming to Kitchener, Waterloo? We have nothing here. But there's a lot of other things we don't think about, family visiting family, people going to a concert for one night. So there's always ways to do Airbnb almost anywhere in a big metro city across North America. But for me, I really want to be in an actual vacation spot. We're trying to create an actual business. So, we're buying these single family properties just like we do in Canada, and we're renovating them better than everybody else on the street. So if you look at, my YouTube channel and see all the properties, or the one we just did in Naples that I recently posted, you can see like we went really high end on the renovations, high end on the staging. We're really providing a good hospitality and a good business model. So I think for me, it's much smarter to build this actual business in an actual spot where people are coming all year long, obviously, especially in the wintertime, for vacation, and just blowing their minds, giving them the best experience ever for their money and beating everybody on the street, which is the same thing I've done in Canada, was buying properties in great areas and renovating them better than everybody on the street so that my tenants pay the most, they stay the longest, I attract the best quality tenants. Boring. So we're trying to do that same model now down in the US.
In Canada, where you're investing in your Airbnbs, are there any regulations or restrictions that you have on short-term rentals in that market?
Yeah, so not in my area, Kitchener, Waterloo, like 1 hour south of Toronto. It's kind of free for all, which is great. But I know Toronto has some. I know a couple other towns, Niagara, Hamilton, they're thinking about it. I don't really know too much about it because we don't really focus on Airbnbs in those cities. But it's going that way. Like we can see more cities in Canada, more governments in Canada trying to limit this from growing, which is insane. It's the whole reason why, again, another reason why we're focusing on in the US is leave my properties alone. Like this is a freehold property. I should be able to do with it pretty much whatever I want. You know what I mean? Within a reason, obviously. But this whole government, controlling us and trying to tell us what to do with what is just getting annoying for us.
So besides all that, have you ever compared the Airbnb number in Canada and, in Naples, you have another Airbnb as well. Have you ever compared the numbers besides all these other things? If we just look at from the numbers perspective, what would that look like?
The cash flow, I know for sure, would still be more in the US. The thing is in Canada, we're buying even in Kitchener, which is, not a special town. It's just a nice big city. There's no ocean beside us. There's no major attraction, but the properties we're buying are the cheapest property you can buy for a detached home. We're talking 650, 700,000 Canadian, which is like $2 USD. No, but it's a lot. The house
make the
is
same
a lot.
Joke.
Yeah, the house is a lot of money.
Where can I invest? I'm going to find you, Matt. I'm going to go to Canada now.
It's a lot of money for nothing. It's like, why are houses so much in Canada? I don't know, right? It just is what it is. In the US, like where we're buying mostly in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, we're buying a property 30 minutes from an iconic ocean for 350,000 USD. But I'm buying this house up in Canada. It's cold. It's crappy. There's no ocean. There's barely any lakes or anything. And I'm paying 700,000 right? So it's just like the value is just not there. So because we can buy these properties so low and rent them so high, the numbers are way better down in Florida, but the numbers are also surprisingly good in Canada for these Airbnbs. They still cash flow, and they cash flow much more than a long-term Airbnb. But if I had to choose return on investment cash flow, like Florida is going to beat it every time.
Interesting. Now we kind of pivot you talk about buying $350,000 houses in Cape Coral. And we all heard and seen over the news that the hurricane just went through level 4
Yeah.
one in 20 years or 50 years that really devastated the entire Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
Has anything changed after you've seen that?
Nothing's really changed for us. I have boots on the ground people over there. Lots of investors I know are down there as well. So same as Naples, but worse there. But anywhere along the ocean front got pretty beat up, especially if you didn't have a concrete block construction house.
Yeah,
Which the majority of new houses, I would say anything 2000 and after in Southwest Florida, most likely is a construction block home. You have nothing to worry about pretty much when it comes to wind damage. Obviously, water is a whole different story. So if you're on the ocean block or not, your house is going to get messed up. All the pictures, all the media videos you see on the media that our house is blown over or washed away, 9 times out of 10, they were a wood frame house, just like we have in Canada and most of North America, right? Northern states. So those houses don't stand a chance. Even up to 150 kilometer winds, those houses are going to break. So, we have a concrete block house in Naples. We're 3 minutes from the ocean, 4 blocks from the ocean. Only the first block got flooded up and then it receded the same day. So we, kind of lucky for Naples, but wind wise, we had the 120 mile per hour winds too. There was 0 damage to our house. There was one rose bush, my property manager said, that got uprooted and scratched the house a bit that we just painted. No big deal, easy fix. And then a couple of palm leaves fell over. That's it. Those houses aren't going anywhere, right? So that's one key thing to focus on when you're buying down in Florida is a block house for termites, one, but also for high winds. And yeah, but what we're seeing there in Cape Coral, nothing's really changed. If you're not on the water, most houses that are, a 3-5 minute drive from the water, you're good. Like no major damage. Yeah.
And you got to make sure you got that really, really good insurance coverage for that too.
100%. Which the insurance in Florida, Southwest Florida is insanely high, but now we know why.
And I heard that only 25% of residents in Cape Coral has flooding insurance.
Yeah.
So what do you think will happen to the market when, a lot of the houses were devastated? What do you think will happen to the market? What are the investors, the smart investors?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about holding on that crystal ball.
Yeah.
And what are they thinking?
And I don't know if it's too early to start talking about this because I don't want to,
I want to hear it.
Be a nasty investor. But yeah, there will be deals to come for sure. People are going to start selling. I don't think it's going to tank the market or change the market in a huge way because most properties didn't get that devastated. A couple of trees fell on a roof, whatever. Things can be fixed for $3,000 to $5,000. Talking about total devastation, there wasn't as much as the media is making it seem. They're making it seem like the entire Southwest Florida is just gone. That's not what happened. So I don't see it changing the numbers of the market too much. However, yes, there probably will be deals coming out. There will be motivated sellers who their house is broken in half and they just want to sell at a discount and leave. I'm sure those opportunities are coming.
There you have it. The fruitful crystal ball prediction. And I think the same because, if a lot of people don't have insurance and, a lot of time it's just a stock market. When it tank, everyone is like, oh my God, I know why I don't want to buy in Cape Coral and all that. A lot of people are afraid, but guess what? A year from now, people are very forgetful. Now is sunshine and rainbow again, right? So there might be windows opening up for investors, but again, you gotta know what to avoid. Make sure you focus on houses that are built after 2000. Make sure it's high enough, and the right building code and all that, right? Just to protect yourself.
100%.
That's cool. So we spent so much time on real estate because you really talk about real estate. What are you doing in stocks?
Yeah. So the stock market strategy now is just super slow. My strategy is always boring, slow, steady, quality first. So over the past year, as my stocks have been going above or neutral, we're kind of selling off and pulling out and kind of waiting with that dry powder. So that's kind of the main strategy. And now the only stocks I hold, which I pretty much always hold, are still just quality names: Amazon, Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, S&P 500, especially. Just super, super boring. It's just the amount that I hold is much less than I was at the beginning of the year. So I've just been kind of playing the bear market rallies timely. So when my stocks come above or neutral, I'm selling because I know the trend. I know where it's going. But again, just like with stocks, just like with real estate, it's starting to change. So now, just before this call, I just bought some more shares of Tesla because the price is too good and I have a good feeling, I know where this is going 6 to 12 months from now. So now is the time where we're buying more. We're starting to accumulate more. But yeah, it's just super boring. My stock and real estate strategy is not cool. It would put you to sleep. And that's the whole point.
What percentage split do you have between stocks and your real estate?
Yeah, probably right now, less than 5% of my net worth is in stocks, which before at the beginning of this year, it would probably been about 15-20% of my net worth was in stocks. Now we're down to like 5%.
In all US stocks.
Yeah, all US. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Now we're going to come back to a little bit more of our traditional high income earners question. We're going to ask you a few questions before we go into our fire round.
Yeah.
Like, what is your version of financial freedom and maybe retire optionally or early? What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So for me, it's having the option of being able to not do anything. So, we built our team and systems in a place where if I wake up tomorrow morning and I'm like, you know what, I just don't feel pretty good, I just want to chill today. Or if Rachel and I want to take Sawyer, our baby, out to do something that day, I can just say, cool, I don't want to work today. So to me, that's what financial freedom, financial independence means to me. That's like the goal that I've been striving for years. So we've reached that goal, I don't know, about 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, that's my vision, my version of FIRE.
Does Sawyer get to go with you every every business trip that you take now?
Yeah, 100%. He's always with us. He's great on a plane, surprisingly. So far.
Is he less than 10 months?
He's 14 months now.
14 months. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's good then. That's good. It's always nice when the babies are cooperative during travel.
Exactly.
That's great. That's great to hear. Aline, do you have any other question for Matt before we go into a fire round?
Yeah. What are you fired up most about right now?
Yeah. So for me, like what I'm seeing in the market wise, like is real estate. I was kind of, all this year, I was kind of, like I said, selling real estate or getting out of long-term real estate, just focusing on flips only. And like I said, I was kind of done with rental properties in Canada for sure. And maybe even in the US, I didn't really want any. Now I'm really fired up because I see the opportunity. I see what's happening. Like I want to keep buying more in Florida for the Airbnbs, obviously, but I'm also looking and researching Georgia, Texas. What are the best areas to just do same old boring single family long-term rentals that I've done in Ontario? Can I do that down there? I'm in the process of thinking about starting a private equity fund in order to specifically buy these single family homes in Georgia or Texas, et cetera. So that's what's really firing me up is while everybody right now is freaking out, they're scared. The media is going so hard on overdrive. It seems like about fear, fear, fear. I'm running in the opposite direction because it's the classic Warren Buffett quote. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. And that's what I'm doing. I'm excited.
Cool. That's very good. Again, contrarian, thinking ahead of the curve and, put your money where your mouth is. That's what's going to reward you. And even if you're wrong, you're holding on to good asset that produce cash flow. So, it's a good place to be in. Cool. Anything else we should chat about before we go into our fire round, Matt?
Let's go in the fire round. Let's see what this is all about.
Cool. Ellie, you want to kick us off with our first question?
All right, Matt. If you become a billionaire tomorrow with a B, what would your day look like?
Oh, man.
I told you it was fun.
Yeah. Living in Hawaii for sure with the sickest house, best ocean view, and just flying around the world all the time, bringing friends and family, living the good life.
Why Hawaii? Why not just in Naples?
Hawaii. Okay. So Naples is our short-term strategy because it's the closest thing we can find to Hawaii that we can drive to with our dog. Because my wife, Rachel, does not want to put our dog on a plane. My choice is Hawaii. We love Hawaii. We travel to almost all the islands. We absolutely love it. It's our favorite place on earth. It's our vibe. It's all about healthy living, fruits, amazing, ocean. So
which
Hawaii
island?
is the place to be. Our favorite would be Kauai, 100%.
Isn't Brandon Turner there?
Brandon is in Maui.
Oh, Maui. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. They're all similar. They're all pretty similar, but that island has a special vibe.
So the next question will be, okay, Matt, somehow you lose everything overnight. You still have your YouTube channel. You still have your social media.
Yeah.
But you lost everything. Everything in stocks, everything in real estate. Yeah. We drop $500,000 to you.
Yeah.
what would you do to start over?
Same thing I did from the very beginning. I'm going to smash social media hard, smash YouTube about teaching, being the authority in single family homes. I'm doing it all over again. So I'm buying single family homes with that money. I'm attracting more JV partners, and I'm doing the same thing I'm doing now. Boring. I've been doing it since 2012. I'm going to keep doing it. Buying quality single family homes, holding 3 to 5 years, and selling.
Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes the boring stuff works really well, right? A lot of investors eventually move up from smaller single family to larger multifamily, all that. Yeah. There's always different competition, different things. And we start seeing a lot of big private equity funds start coming down because as they really need to gobble up more asset, they start coming down to the single family as well. Yep. And, BlackRock is coming into Canada as well. So a lot of time, if your house is being bought up by a numbering company, it could be BlackRock.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just doing what they're doing. Exactly. I'm going to swim with the big fish, right? Single family home seems to be what all the big money's doing. So I must be doing something right. I don't know.
And Matt, if you were to interview anybody in the world, who would you want to interview?
Oh, man. Probably Kevin O'Leary. I really like Kevin O'Leary a lot. I kind of
Mr. Smiles.
Yeah. I kind of have the same vibe, what do you call it? Just a business strategy, business mindset of him. Very conservative, but also, going heavy in what I know, specializing, he's all about that. So I kind of jive with what he's saying. So I'll probably interview him.
Very nice. So Matt, I know the fruitful way. Is there any fruitful way of giving back? And, the more you give, the more you have, kind of like the more responsibility you have, kind of according to Spider-Man. Yeah. Is there any ways that kind of giving back in your own ways, or you're planning to?
Yeah. So for me, it's just like doing kind of what you're doing. So free content on social media. Yes, it's obviously for business and attracting JV partners and customers into the business, but also I love giving back, giving free advice, showing what I'm doing. So that's kind of like my free giveaway kind of stuff. On a personal note, I really want to help my family more than us. So, we're good. Our small family, we're good. Now the next plan is, how can I take care of my parents? How can I take care of Rachel's parents? How can I take care of the family around us? And everybody lifts up. So that's kind of the next focus is for us is, the family ring, helping them. So it's beyond just us now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And that is part where I'm working on, and it's a balance between how much should you give them so that there's still meaning to life, so that they still learn and grow, but not give them everything, so that life become meaningless and become mandatory. So the moment you stop, they hate you for it. So, I'm very careful of that line about balance between that and, make sure that they still enjoy life, right? Life is not just all about sitting, doing nothing. It's about growing and all that. So thanks 100%. For sharing that.
Yeah.
Matt, so if our audience also wants to find out more about you, reach out. Where's the best place that they can go?
Yeah, best place is on YouTube. If you type in The Fruitful Investor, you'll find me for sure. We have over, 600 videos now, I think, on YouTube, all free. Nice. So check that out. That's where we are. Instagram is where I spend my daily days. So if you want to see what I'm doing on a daily basis, Instagram, find me at Mat Piche, or The Fruitful Investor. You'll find me there too.
Awesome.
Beauty. Well, thanks for coming on, Matt. Is there any last words of wisdom you want to tell our audience?
Where you hid your crystal ball?
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you that. What I will tell
all your money in this.
Yeah. Focus on quality and specialize. That's what I've done my entire life. That's what I've been told from other great investors that mentored me, was specialize. A lot of people get too shiny syndrome focused or whatever, and they just jump from thing to thing to thing, town to town to town. Focus on one thing, one niche, one town, specialize, own it, and then move on. If you do that, I'm sure you'll be successful.
Love it.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Matt.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot for coming on, Matt.
All the links mentioned in this episode are included in the show notes. And if you love this episode, please leave us a rating and review on Apple iTunes. The link is also included in the show notes. And we would really appreciate your help in spreading the word to more high income earners on how they too can maximize both their time and money.
Also, if you still haven't joined our High Income Earners Facebook group, you are missing out on High Income Earners community, where we help each other reach our own version of FIRE.